from home invasions to robberies to drugs to guns and everything. So when they took me in that little room and they kept looking at me, telling me that I'm in a lot of trouble, you know what I mean? Like, you was in a lot of trouble. Then they started asking me about crimes in Tampa and to help myself and things like that. And quite naturally, I ain't say a motherfucking thing to them. I'm like, man, I ain't got nothing to say, man. You know, and they just kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. Hey, man, you know you facing a life sentence, man. With your record, you ain't gonna never in your life get out of prison. If you can tell us about crimes that's happening in Tampa, there's no crimes we can solve and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And basically, I just told them, fuck them. And they took me to jail. You know, they took me to Orange Road Jail. And from there, I was in jail for about a year before I played out. And I went to, because back in 20 years ago, they used to have, these county jails had contracts with Brooksville, they had contracts with Pasco County, they had contracts with Citrus County, and they was bouncing me from all these jails, just bouncing me. Almost, dog, for real, my nigga, that time I was in the county jail that year was the worst time I did as far as my stress. And versus, I was feeling better when I got to 27 years versus going through that whole process of sitting in that county jail, just putting in my mind that I'm finna be gone for the rest of my life, you know? And what I did is I tried to savage my life, man, you know? And then when I went up the road, I'm gonna tell you about that. When I went up the road, when I went to Coleman, when I got to Coleman, I started meeting dudes from Miami and dudes from all over, because it started in Miami, then it hit Central Florida, then it's now it's in Chicago. I got news clippings to where they saying, is this law enforcement or have the law enforcement went too far? Because you had people like Eric Holden and stuff like that was pushing this, saying, hey man, this ain't right, because y'all racial profiling. Y'all ain't going out in these white boys' neighborhoods and all this type of shit right here trying to get them to hit a lick. Okay, say if they don't hit dope boy type licks, you got a whole bunch of white people that's on meth, that's on crack and everything, and you can walk right up to them and say, hey man, we got a bank over here. If you just go up to the teller and just flash the gun, the girl working there, and you can make your $20,000, $30,000. You know how many white boys they gonna get for that? There's no white boys that is charged with these crimes. And if it is a white boy charged with this crime, he's a wiggler. And what I mean that he's a wiggler, he's a white boy that act like a nigga, and he got caught in the car. It was 4 of them, and he was a white boy sitting in the car with some cornrows in his head or something. Before as them going out, lurking out in America, targeting white people with this type of crime, it doesn't exist.
Now what the statutes again?
The statute is a 924C. Armed career criminal is an ACCA, and a regular career offender is 4B1. I got hit with everything.
So what some of these jitty boys need to know?
Man, listen,
how not to catch those type of statutes right there. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
break it down for them.
Listen, man.
Let me stop and pause it again.
All you young brothers out there, man, that's walking around. And one thing I give these youngsters these days, man, that they were smarter than us. And I used to tell them this in prison. This is the only thing that y'all was smarter than us in. Is now when y'all turn 18 years old and y'all ain't getting no record, and y'all don't have a record, y'all will go get a gun. Y'all are smart with that, because we didn't do that. We was 18 years old with no record and still walking around with a gun that's not registered or anything. But for all you young dudes out there, man, that's walking around with them guns, dog, and y'all got convicted felons, man, that's 15 to life, homie. Meaning that the minimum you can get is 15 and the max you can get is life. I know plenty of niggas walking around in prison with 50, 60 years just with a gun that they didn't use, my nigga. I ain't talking about you done committed a crime with this bitch. You just a convicted felon. And y'all don't know these laws, bruh. Y'all don't know them, because I didn't know them. I didn't know that back when I was 13, 14 years old and I got 2 ounces in my pocket and I got a pistol in my pocket, that's life, nigga. That's life. You got niggas like, they just changed the crack law, but hell, niggas been in 30 years. Niggas failed when they was 21, now they 55 years old and they just getting out from that, from 2018 when the crack law, whenever they changed it and all this type shit, and they still trying to hold niggas down. You know what I'm saying? So for all you young niggas out there, man, you know what I'm saying, man, y'all just know what you're doing, man. And know the Fed is on a whole nother level. They don't give a fuck about your money. They don't give a fuck about none of that. Martha Stewart went there, man. Wesley Snipes, man. Ronald Isley, man. You know what I'm saying? And the list goes on, man. They don't give a damn. You know what the Fed want? The Fed want a body. That's what they want. They want a body, my nigga. And when they get you in there, it's hard to get up out of that motherfucker. You're gonna be traveling from state to state. You're gonna be on them airplanes. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be on these holdovers around weirdo ass motherfucking niggas. You know what I'm saying? And when I was in the state, I'm like used to Florida niggas. I'm used to Miami niggas and Tampa and Fort Myers and Jacksonville and Pensacola, but when you go to the federal system, bro, you around a whole different breed of niggas that don't think like us. You know what I'm saying? Because niggas from Florida, like everybody like niggas from Florida. We like good niggas in there, and we got a reputation, cause we ain't going for nothing. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you got some meaner niggas in there, man, that's way meaner and way more savage than us. You know what I'm saying? So you got to know how to move in them situations. I remember when I first got to Coleman, I rounded up dudes at Coleman, man. Shout out to Coleman, man. I rounded up a whole bunch of dudes that had these cases like mine. Most of them, you know what I'm saying? Some of them was Cuban. I remember one day I was in the middle of the rec field and a whole bunch of Cubans and Puerto Ricans, they had me surrounded. And next thing you know, I see dudes from Florida just running across the field because they think I'm in a jam. They like, Red, what's up? What's up? What's up? They don't know that I done rounded all these dudes up that got stash house robberies, and I was getting their stories, and I was writing the NAACP, I was writing Mark Morrell, I was writing the Castellated, the city of Tampa. Man, listen, man, when I tell you I went on a whole campaign about this, bro. I went on a whole campaign because I always knew it was wrong. And had I not pled and took them 27 years, I would be in prison right now with a life sentence. If I would have went to trial. I just tried to just savage my life, man. Like, damn, I'm 29 years old. I take 27 years. I'll be 53, 54 years old when I get out. You know what I'm saying? And just try to do my best. Because there's dudes in there right now that they feel they was wronged. And they is wrong. So they went to trial and they got life. And ain't nothing changed with these laws with this. Yeah, something changed with the crack law, but they didn't charge me with crack. They actually charged me with coke. So didn't nothing come after that to where they saying, hey man, the stash house robbery wrong, so we gonna stop it. So niggas been in 20, 30 years right now with that shit and still fucked up.
And they went on the blank, it ain't nothing else.
Say it again?
When they went to the stash house, it wasn't nothing else.
No.
It's the blank robbery.
Yeah, you don't even go to a stash house. That's the thing that used to piss me off. Like I said, it ain't even like y'all had a make-believe house and I kicked the door in and y'all jumped out the closet and say, motherfucker, we got you. It wasn't even like that. All these was words. I caught 27 years in federal prison, bro, for some words for a crime that the federal government made up against me. They just made this up. This was a made up crime. Straight up, it was just made up. Hey man, we gonna get this motherfucker in. We know he just got out of prison. We know that he will take something. So guess what? We gonna throw something out there. And I'm gonna even go a whole step further. You got a whole bunch of dope boys in the game that they didn't come up like me. And what I mean, they didn't come up like me. I just happen to come from an area, if anybody know about Tampa, I'm from about 34th, man. I'm from the hump. And every nigga up there, and if you know the history of Tampa, you know it's a violent place. A lot of niggas done got killed up there. It's one of them places where your parents told you growing up, I don't even want to catch you around there. I'm talking, they have speeches with their kids, don't let me catch you around this hump. But I'm saying that to say is that everybody over there is predisposed to rob. Everybody over there predisposed to rob. I don't care if you're young, you're old, you're snatching pocketbooks, you know what I'm saying, you're killing. Everybody over there got that mentality. You know what I'm saying? Definitely back in the days. The hump got a lot of history in Tampa. I remember times I used to be at the club and I might tell a chick to drop me off there, and when she say where, and when I say that, she might drop me off down the street. That's how bad it was. But I'm just saying that to say is that in that area, when they was targeting that area right there real bad, because they end up getting my homeboy 40. They end up getting 40. They end up getting my homeboy Blackwater with that. But I was the first one, but all of us came from that area.
I think they even hit Kievis with something like that.
Kievis' situation was a little bit different because he went to go do an actual deal, from my understanding. He just tried to rob him.
Oh, okay.
So, but they did hit him with something similar that you did right. He went to go sell something, but they end up, you know what I'm saying, he end up, from my understanding, like I say, don't quote me on it, you know what I'm saying, I mess with Kevin. What's up, Kievis Williams, what's happening, partner? He end up trying to rob him, and that's how they end up busting him. Right. And they gave him 17 years for that. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I said, this is where I was going with that too, is that everybody ain't predisposed to rob. You got some niggas that's in the dope game, that's all they do is just sell dope. So they was missing a lot of niggas. Cause when they come to them with the shit like, look, it's a stash house robbery, nigga like, hell no, I ain't with that shit, you got me fucked up. So they went one step further and say, okay, we got a plug that needs some help getting rid of some work, like they told me from the beginning, but they're gonna charge you with the same statute with a life sentence. The only difference is you won't have a gun case. Because how many niggas right now, if you say, hey man, this a nigga out of Miami, he just moved from Tampa, and he don't know nobody from Miami, niggas looking for the plug. He don't motherfucking know nobody from Tampa, and he need a young nigga to help him move some work. Man, that's a wide web of niggas they could have got. But when they talking about that robbery shit, niggas ain't with it, so niggas was running, so they got smart. And now, as of recently, that's how they start reeling niggas in. And even minus the gun case, you still facing life. You still might end up with 30, 40 years. The motherfucking gun case didn't give me nothing but 5 years extra. That's the only thing it gave me because I didn't have a chopper. So I still would have ended up with 22 years, even if it was just the dope. Even if I just talked about the dope. Exactly, because of my priors.
And there's a lot of people don't understand about your priors in the Fed, that's gonna fuck you up.
Yes, your prior in the Fed gonna kill you, man. Listen, man, I had 2 robberies. One from 88, one from 89 in Johnson Coat. And I rented the Rockhead car on both times, but they reported it either stolen or they say I robbed. You know how they used to do back in the day? You done got the car and you done kept it for a whole week, and them people married, got husbands and wives, and now they done reported stolen and say you robbed them at gunpoint. Okay, I'm young, I'm 15, 16 years old, so I'm pleading to these cases. All right, it ain't nothing, y'all ain't give me nothing but a year and a day or 18 months, I'm pleading. I don't know 20 years later that they're gonna turn around and use all that shit against me, and those was the 2 robberies that they used, along with a Florida gun to hit me with the ACCA. The ACCA is almost the worst you can get, man. They be talking about the RICO and all that shit right there. The RICO is a state case, man. You got dudes get the RICO case and catch 20 years, like motherfucking Young Thug, and they do 2 years on every 5 years. So he might, if he get 20, he doing what, the goddamn 10 or something like that, 7. But in the Fed, bro, when you get hit with that ACCA, you dead, man. You dead, man. And I didn't see this, I ain't gonna lie.